welcome to Critical Mass Business Talk Show, Orange County's longest running business talk show. I'm your host, Ric Franzi, and I'm excited to have on our show today Fred Babaee. He is the CEO at Simply Mobile Dentistry. Fred, welcome to the show. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate that. You have a great show, and I appreciate for having us at your show.
Well, it's my pleasure. You're a serial entrepreneur, Fred. Anybody looks at his LinkedIn profile, you will see that, and we're going to talk about that a bit here in the program because I love to have entrepreneurs and business owners, and serial entrepreneurs are uniquely qualified to talk about the experience of being an entrepreneur. But before we get there, I understand your father was an entrepreneur and a business owner, and I'm wondering if we could start this conversation today. What did you learn from observing how your father ran his business?
Absolutely. So my father was a owner of a small business. He had a fabric shop in a what we call this large merchant type facility in with what we call it a bazaar. So where everybody comes in to buy merchandise and things like that. So every summer, and even after school, I used to go to help him out during what he was, the transaction he was doing with his customers, with his vendors. I learned, how things comes in terms of how you count inventory, how things goes out, in terms of delivering to customers, and a couple of main things that I learned from just being there in summertime after school was really a customer service, how he was able to satisfy customers and how he had return customers coming in because he took care of them. He took care of every part of their anything they needed. If something went wrong, he was there to replace it for them. If something was bad, he was able to take care of it for them. So that was something I really learned from him. And also really hustle, how you make money, how you get things, how you make payroll, how you get things done, and how you actually continue to grow from the money that coming in and reinvest it into something else. So I learned it from him at a very, very early ages, like 10, 11 years old, as I remember. So and then from there, of course, it always stayed in my mind that how can I be like him? How can I be somebody who can own a business, a small business, and run it successfully?
There are some universal realities, truths to being an entrepreneur. Satisfying your customers, clearly, and the ability to make a profit, make money are two of them that are, I think, so foundational. So that is fantastic. I wonder if we could now take a look at Simply Mobile Dentistry. You're the co-founder. I'm curious, tell us about the business model. Sure. And a little bit of your experience and how you got it started and where it is today, Frank.
So what the way I call this business model is we like to call it a technology dentistry organizations. The reason I say that is because it is not just about the service, but is servicing the patients, of course. It's also about what is behind the scene in regards to the equipment they use, the mobility that you have to have in order to take care of the patients. So I get to that in just a moment. But the way we started about 3 years ago, I was in a communication with a dentist and a number of other CEOs talking about how can a dentist or a hygienist be able to deliver their services, mobile services, because I didn't even know actually mobile dentistry existed 3 years ago when I was talking to these folks, and they said, yes, it exists. It's really doing a great service to elderly, schools, underdeveloped population, and now it's just everywhere, basically, mobile dentistry. So we talked, they asked me and said, look, we have equipment, but the equipment we have doesn't deliver proper doesn't deliver the mobility that we need in order to take care of these patients. Can you design something that is not just a portable unit, but also be able to provide telehealth, which we call teledentistry, of course, in this sort of model. And this is 3 years ago. So this 3 years ago, when teledentistry, when you talk to dentists about that, you have to educate them, and because it's okay. What does that do for me? Because I'm a dentist, I have to actually go and physically touch somebody's mouth in order to be able to deliver my services. So we explained, yes, you have to do that anyway, but this is before you actually get there to be able to see the patient virtually. So with our equipment, the way we designed it, after 9 months of working with the team of engineers that I had in place, we were able to build a prototype. The prototype got delivered into a number of schools in Santa Ana, and then it actually became a working unit in order to not only do dentistry services, but also do teledentistry in regards to how the dentist can see the patient when the hygiene part of the services is done. So from there, we decided that, hey, look, let's go further. Let's see how can we actually deliver services. So in 2020, we started Simply Mobile Dentistry, where we had already designed the equipment, portable equipment. Now we said, okay, we have the equipment that we know it works. Now let's go ahead and service some of the patients and see how the market is. How is the market about mobile dentistry? How people see that? So I partnered with a doctor, and then we came in and we actually built this business to start doing services. And of course, as you know, COVID happened in January, February of 2020. So we had to slow down. We had to actually continue to improve on our equipment. And then we start actually doing delivery of services in mid 2020. Mm-hmm. Then we found out that this is something that a lot of patients welcome these services in a way that saying, oh wow, this is you're saying a dentist can come to me rather than I can go to dentist. He said, yes, this is how this business model works. So we were able to do that to a number of, we picked up different type of target market. We went to nursing home, we went to corporate facilities, we actually went to somebody's, people's home. So we started just sort of test the market, see who is actually more interested in this type of services. And then we found out that there's good many of patients who are older and who are not mobile, and they are in a retired home facilities or in a nursing home facilities or places where they say, look, I am healthy. I can walk and things, but I'd like to have dentists come to me rather than I go to dentists because of all the things going on with COVID, all the other things that could be a possibility of different type of diseases. So we found out that this is a great service, and that's how Simply Mobile got started.
So Fred, I have just a couple quick follow-ups on that. You mentioned COVID a couple times, and so in my mind, I heard you say in the beginning it caused you to slow down a little bit, but then understanding the psychology of how people felt during COVID, it sounds like being able to come to their house and doing personalized service might have actually been a benefit for Simply Mobile, the fact that you could do that. Is that, am I accurate in how I say that?
Absolutely. So by you mentioned it perfectly in a way that when dentists, as you know, they were shut down, the dentist shops were closed. They couldn't see any patients, and the patients actually were saying that I'm not sure if I want to go to dentist because of all this stuff. This is before we had vaccine, before people were vaccinated. So a lot of patients were saying, that we were talking to said, what a great idea that you can actually come to us. So we don't have to go to a physical office where there has been number of patients coming in and out. Therefore, the possibility of having some sort of a infection at the office is a lot higher than having you coming into my office, because it's my home, my office, or my facility, and I know that I don't have a lot of traffic coming into my facility. So that was, COVID wasn't a good thing, but it actually opened up a lot of doors for us as a mobile dentistry. For a number of others, like teledentistry became a huge platform for a number of dentists to start using. And when the shops were closed, they were so, oh my God, what do I do now when I cannot see patients? They could see their patients through virtually through televideo. So it did open a lot of doors.
So kind of to put a bow on this, to better understand the business model for Simply Dentistry, are your clients the dentists that want to employ your technology and systems? Is that true? Okay.
That's correct. So from there, after we discovered that how the patients are they welcome these sort of services. After testing the market, find out, yes, this is a right market for our technology, for our equipment, for our portable units. We basically came out and said, let's, the 3 years ago when I designed this sort of equipment, we were strictly equipment design manufacturer. Then we said, okay, well, we know the market is there. We know that the dentists need the equipment and the patient want to have these sort of services delivered to their doorstep. So now we have merged with a company called Core3 Telemed, that all they do is technology. All they do is building technology for dentists and hygienists who are looking for this type of organizations that can deliver the basically everything they need in order to take care of their patients. Portable equipment, if they need x-rays, we can provide the intraoral camera, the technology behind it in terms of actually getting patients. A lot of these mobile dentists and hygienists, even though they have number of patients, but they still want more patients. So we can actually deliver that to them. So now, yes, we are a technology company where we can deliver our equipment and our platform, software platform, which is the marketing part of it, to dentists and hygienists. So that's our customers. Our customers are dentists and hygienists.
I love it when we talk to an entrepreneur that has some type of positive tailwinds that could push the business. And it sounds like people's behavioral change with COVID, where they're doing more online, where they're having more things delivered, could really be an accelerator for your business model with your clients. So that's exciting, Fred. I have to definitely keep an eye on how you're doing with Simply Mobile Dentistry Incorporated.
Absolutely, yes.
So I want to go back in time now.
Okay.
Your first business, as I understand it, was Corlogix Incorporated. And
Correct.
You started that in 1994. It ran successfully for 19 years.
Yes.
What was your take us back to that, Fred. What was your motivation to leave the University of South Carolina and start a business on your own and become an entrepreneur?
Very good. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up. It's I graduated from USC. We call it USC also because that's the first USC that came into. But I graduated from USC. Then I actually started working at the University of South Carolina as a network administrator. So this is back in the early days when we had sort of one T1 that managed whole university internet. So it's so amazing that now you have so much internet speed at your fingertip. But that's what I did then, and then I was able to help a number of faculty and staff to connect their unit to the network and things like that. From there, I got a lot of request from faculty and staff. Is, can you come to my house or my I have another office and help me do this? I said, sure, why not? So I did that as a sort of a favor to a number of faculty and staff. And then they bought me, we had dinner together, or we had, a glass of wine and things like that. So I didn't even ask for money for anything like that, simply because we were friends. And then this became a lot, word of mouth got around, and I got calls from just about everybody. Hey, can you come help me connect my printer? Can you come help me to get my word processing installed? Then after like 2-3 months, I said, wait a minute, I can actually make money. So I said, well, let's try that. So I tried actually asking if you like my services, we can do things in terms of perhaps hourly rate and things like that. So it's, oh, no problem. We're happy to do that. So then this became more and more it took a lot more of my time. And then I said, no, wait, I can actually do this as a business. Mm-hmm. So I left University of South Carolina after 10 years and worked and started Chipco, Corlogix, 2 businesses actually, that we built custom PCs, custom laptop, custom servers, as well as medical cards. And of course, as a startup, you always look to grow your business organically and start managing your revenue the best way possible. So we really weren't looking for any investors. We just said, look, we are not going to go that way because it may take a lot of our time. Let's just work hard and raise our marketing organically so we can start bringing revenue. And that's what happened. And I think one of the big things is that the timing was good. We were a little lucky, and things got really, we think, took off from then on after 94. As Windows 95 came right after that. Then Windows became a big factor in terms of operating system. So our business really took off from there. And then we start hiring more people. We start having, additional workspace we had to get done. But it was a blessing to be able to really start from just doing a favor to friends, and then make it monetized from that, and then building a business like that. So that's how things got started, and we got, we're lucky to get a number of good contracts and be able to satisfy our customers properly.
That is, and I don't mean to minimize it. I'm actually rewarding it in my mind. That's a classic entrepreneurial story where you do something and you realize there's value in what you're doing, and you create a business. And I'm so glad that you were able to share that story. I did notice that Sammy was talking about an innovative business model design that, and I imagine that's in the course of the conversation, probably with the earlier conversation that we had, though. So thank you, Sammy, for participating in the conversation. And the platform is open to anyone else who would like to join and make a comment or even ask a question of our guest Fred today here on the Business Talk Show. I'm wondering, though, over those 19 years with Corlogix, was there a time when you felt, Fred, that all you had built to that point might be at significant risk and that maybe the business wouldn't continue?
So very good question, Rick. 5 years into this business, I always, the way every morning, 8 a.m., we had a sales meeting. And we talked about how we can go after big deals, how we can go. Small deals are good because that comes in anyway, but the big deals are a little harder to sort of catch and bring in. So I said, I always look, guys, don't worry about how we can deliver. Go after the big deals. We find a way to deliver things to our customers. So that's what they did. That's why my sales guys did. They went out. we were awarded a large contract to schools in Mississippi to deliver like 6,000 PCs in 3 months. And then right after we got that contract, we got a contract from a NATO to deliver 3,000 PCs to Afghanistan. And I said, oh my God, now we got 9,000 units we have to deliver in 3 months. And we don't even have the facility to actually get it done. So we had to expand. We had to hire more people. We had to have a second shift operating. It was amazing that how everybody, again, the big thing when you build a startup is a team that you put together. When the team is behind you, when we got those deals, I didn't have a negative sort of energy coming out of our staff that saying, hey, my God, Fred, you went out and got these deals. You didn't know that we don't have the staff to deliver these. I said, look, we're going to find the staff to be able to do this. So everybody was behind us in order to get this done. And that was a challenge. I think that was something that I felt that, my God, now I'm dealing with NATO. I'm dealing with schools in Mississippi. What if something happens? And this could be end of our, all the things that I worked so hard for. And but it did work out well. We, had to get some extensions, of course, on one of those, but we were able to deliver. And then, of course, U.S. and Afghanistan were in war back in those days. So we said, okay, what if we deliver these units and never get to the hand of the customer? How do we gonna get our money?
Right.
So that was a big challenge. We had a right contact over there, and we were talking to them all the time. And he called me and said, look, the units are here, but we cannot go to the airport to pick him up because there are things going on. And believe it or not, Rick, they were saying the trucks that comes out of the airport to NATO facility gets stolen. Right in the middle of transit. So anyway, but ours didn't get stolen, and it got delivered, and they were very happy.
What a great story! Because if I heard you correctly, that was about 5 years in the company's existence, and you ran it for 19 years. So obviously, but I think every entrepreneur can appreciate the times when, even though you've built something, all of it can be taken away from you. And to your point, sometimes growth can actually kill a company because of the demands placed on the organization. So, there's always something that an entrepreneur has to be thinking about to make sure their business is growing and continuing to thrive. So thank you for that story, Fred. That was great.
Thank you. Yes.
I mentioned earlier, you're a serial entrepreneur, and by my accounts, you've either started or ran like 7 different companies in your time. Yes. Is there a common philosophy, and maybe that you could share with us, that whatever that business was, your guiding principle and your kind of core beliefs kind of infused into that company? Is there something insight you can share with our audience?
Absolutely, Rick. Any startup or any business you start, it's not just all about you. It's a team that you build around yourself to make a successful entity. In the way, the reason I say that is because you have to have a proper sort of a platform and a roadmap with your team members, that they all behind you. When you have the right team members, everybody's behind you to make sure that you deliver the right thing to the customers. That's one of the things that made us successful in our businesses. And also always look for, aim high, because the way I see it is, you have to take a risk, and some of those risks will pay off. And exactly what happened to us in terms of my previous business, that we took a risk, we got the deal, and we were able to deliver. So really two big things: have a good team, aim high, and then take care of your customers at the end. Make sure that you take care of them, because repeat customers is important, extremely important.
Yeah, absolutely. I see we have another comment. Very needs identified and needs met presentation. Thank you, Rick and Fred. Sincerely appreciate listening now from Boston area. Welcome staying in touch in the future. So thank you very much, Mary Avis. I appreciate you commenting, and I'm sure Fred does as well.
Thank you so much.
Boston, it makes me think of outside of Southern California, but I'm wondering, Fred, where do you go to discover outside perspectives and kind of new ideas that help you to run and scale these businesses, and now the current business that you're leading, Simply Mobile Dentistry?
So, Rick, because we look at ourselves as an organization that is a technology that delivers services to the patients. LinkedIn has been a very good platform for us as we come up with new things, as we discover new things, and we post things out. We are able to get a lot of feedback, not just selling part of the technology, but also feedback in regards to, I looked at your equipment, but how do you do this? How do you do that in terms of delivering of proper services to the patient? So we get a lot of feedback and we make corrections too from those feedback in improving our unit. So LinkedIn has been good. Social media, even again, when we post something in social media places like Facebook or Instagram, we also get a lot of feedback. So on the media size, I think this is the places a lot of startups should go in order to get good feedbacks.
It's important to be listening to the audience, right? And the audience can be on LinkedIn, it can be on a lot of platforms, but that's fantastic advice. So we've got a few minutes left here that we plan to talk together, but I wanted to come back and say, what's your vision for Simply Mobile Dentistry going forward from here, Fred?
I learned from my previous business that you have to have a roadmap. Mm-hmm. You have to have a 3 to 5 year roadmap for things that you don't know. I mean, you don't think that, okay, you cannot predict the future. Nobody can. Otherwise, everybody would be, you don't have that crystal ball. But have a roadmap in a way that you can actually follow that, and the metrics behind it, that you can actually look at those roadmap and be able to follow with it. To be honest with you, with my previous company, I had an exit strategy in mind, but I never really thought about it in a way that, okay, one of these days I'm going to sell this or exit these two companies. But I had that in mind, but I really didn't look at it really deep. So when it actually fell in our lap, and when I sold the company, somebody came to us and said, look, are you interested in doing something with exiting and selling your company to us? It just sort of fell into our lap. So my advice is, have a roadmap and have an exit strategy in mind. Even if you don't think, because your baby, your business is your baby, and you never, you always say, I don't think I ever want to sell, but think about that. Think about the exit strategy, and always, with us, we were lucky; it just fell into our lap. But things could happen, and as your revenue grow, as your business grow, a lot of people are looking, and there is a possibility to have a fruitful exit strategy when you have that in place.
I love that. Begin with the end in mind, right? That's such powerful, solid advice. And I thank you for sharing it here today live, and people listening on the podcast will pick it up. If someone would like to connect with you, how do they connect with you specifically, Fred, or maybe learn more about Simply Mobile Dentistry?
Yes. So, of course, my LinkedIn, Fred Babaee, is my LinkedIn profile. They can always go there. My contact, email, and phone. My phone number is there as well. And they can contact me anytime through that. and also our website as well, simplymobiledentistry.com. And they can also go to that to get connected with me.
Well, thank you, my friend, for sharing a bit of your wisdom, experience, and insights and updating us on your company. It's very exciting. And I'm so happy that you were able to make this time on your agenda to speak with us here on Critical Mass Business Talk Show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that, Rick.
You're welcome. You know, this edition of Critical Mass Business Talk Show is proudly supported by Gottlieb, Rackman, Reisman, PC. We call them GRR, and they provide legal advice and guidance on all aspects of intellectual property law, including patents, trademarks, and copyrights. If you'd like to learn more, visit them at grr.com. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation today with Fred, and you've enjoyed our show and other shows. And I hope that all of your business decisions will move your companies in a positive direction.